once again for the renegade master. Back 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 once again for the renegade master.
Hello my renegades, and we are back and we are getting into Love Island season 10 and episode 5 this time. So we are just gonna run straight in it. So as I always say, please subscribe to my channel, hit that notification so when you know I'm coming on to do other videos. But let us chat about all things that is Love Island on this video today. So we know that Ty and Ella appear to be getting on good with each other, but I think Ty's getting to the point where he's probably catching a little bit of feelings during this episode, but he really doesn't want to jump in too quickly with Ella. So each time like she opens up a little bit, he will tend to open up, then literally snatch it back every time she talks to him in that sense. But yeah, I do feel like he's holding himself back just a little bit, just that little bit. But as I said, the inner fuck boy, the flirt bag that is Ty, I don't think has totally disappeared, if you ask me. Anyway, so I think there's going to be an issue between Molly and Mitch. And as I said, this girl is going around everybody telling people how she's not locked off with him and the door's not closed off, locked off, whatever you want to call it. It's either one of them words. She's basically not locked off with Mitch. But she's going around telling everybody but Mitch. And my thing is it's going to come back to bite her in her ass at the end of the day, because instead of Mitch hearing it from somebody else, he needed to hear that shit from Molly. So I think she's fucked up in that regard, in terms of like completely disregarding the fact that this man is literally all in with you and has been all in with you from the get-go. So, and you knew he was all in with you from the get-go. So for you not to go and actually pull him to one side before you start chatting to everybody else is kind of fucked up in my books. But you like let me know what you think. So I think that the tables do kind of turn, because then I think it is Sammy and Mitch that have a conversation, and I think Sammy is basically getting a feel of Molly and trying to talk to Mitch to see where they are. Now, Mitch is on a whole different level playing field to Molly, because Mitch is up there and Molly's down there, yeah. And Molly is literally playing in this man's face. So it was Sammy who literally let the cat out of the bag and told Mitch, well, actually, she's going around telling people basically that yous are not closed off, and she is looking to kind of get to know people within this setting. But that's not what Mitch has been hearing from her. Now she's there saying, oh, I need to go, I need to tell Mitch, I need to have that conversation with him. And I'm kind of like, girl, man already knows, because you waited too long to go and tell him that shit. And the reason why you waited so long is because you had the kiss from Zach. It discombobulated your motherfucking brain. Now you want to get to know Zach because you like the little bit of flutter butters that he freaking gave you. And then you no longer want to put all your eggs in one basket with Mitch. And that's how you're playing the game. I would have had more respect for Molly, yeah, if she'd have went to Mitch straight from the bat and said to him, yes, we're talking, yes, we're vibing, but I want to see if there's a vibe with somebody else in this villa too. I want to see if I click more or interact more with somebody else besides yourself. I'm just not shutting myself off just to you, because I don't think that would be fair. Rather than start the fucking series with, I'm in with you, I'm a stick by my man, he makes me so zen that I'm gonna fall asleep, and I'm very much in with Mitch, to now you get a fucking kiss that killed your toes, and now you want to hop ship. That's what she wants to do. She wants to hop ship, and I'm telling you, she's playing in people's faces for real. So, and it goes to Sammy and Molly. And I knew Sammy was going to have his little chat with Molly, to be fair. So Molly, I don't think is nonplussed about Sammy, because she literally wants to try out Zach. That's where Molly's brain is at. She literally wants to try out Zach, to be fair. And I'm saying that it was obvious. It was completely obvious that Mitch was falling for her, basically. It was completely obvious that he was open to be closing that door. So then you see Zach and Mitch go and have a chat, and Mitch is getting angrier by the minute, basically. And basically saying to himself and saying to Zach that he don't want to be taken for a mug and he don't want to look like a mug on TV, basically. And I'm saying, sorry, Mitch, but the way that Molly's playing this, she's already making you look like kind of a dickhead, do you know what I mean? So my thing was for him at that point to go have that chat with Molly to find out what the fuck was going on, basically, because he's having to hear all this shit secondhand and it ain't fair. It isn't fair. So Sammy goes and speaks to Jess, and basically Jess says that she's feeling Ty, but as again, Ty's friend zoned you, my girl. Ty has completely friend zoned you at the end of the day. So there's no picking Ty. There's no picking Ty. She could try her bits with Mitch and see where she gets with that, but right now Mitch is a bit pissed because he sees himself with Molly, completely with Molly, but Molly does not see herself with him. So now you get to the point where Molly and Mitch have a conversation, and Molly's just giving Mitch bare fucking excuses as to what's going on about it was an emotional morning. Yeah, totes emotional for everybody else, do you know what I mean? But Molly's just raw giving bare excuses instead of telling him exactly what she thinks and feels at this moment in time. So Mitch is there saying, yeah, he understands that, you know, she wants to get to know other people in the place, but he doesn't want to be made to look like a dickhead. So basically, I think what Molly wants is to have her cake and eat it too. So as she's saying that she wants to get to know Zach, she's placating him by saying that she still wants to get to know him as well. And as I said, I don't know how you can compartmentalize yourself and do that, to be fair. Split yourself off for one person and then split yourself off for another person. I mean, with friends, you can chat to as many friends as you want to, but when it comes to actual lovers, that's a completely whole type of scenario and different conversation, I think, anyway. But yous let me know what you think. So basically he was being open and honest and saying that the more and more he invests himself in Molly, that he could see that door closing and him becoming closed off with her, but that's not what she wanted. So he point blank turned around to her and said, I can't keep pouring myself into you or giving you my all and I'm not getting nothing back. Somebody tell me why she got upset. I'm like, why are you crying for? Because at the end of the day, he's giving you exactly what you wanted. He's telling you to go off, make your connections, do what you want to do, but also don't expect him to sit there and be waiting on your ass when you get back, basically. That's what he's saying, and I don't see why he should have to wait for you. Why he should gallivant around the bloody villa, see you fucking getting it on with this person, that person, and this person, and then literally be sitting there waiting and holding out hope for you. Nah, he needs to get crack on and start speaking to somebody else. So yeah, she got upset, and I don't understand why Molly got upset, to be fair, because at the end of the day, as I said, Mitch was giving you what you wanted. He's giving you total carte blanche to go out, be free, and talk to people. And I'm like, I don't understand why she didn't like it. I don't understand why she didn't like it. Or was it because she wanted more of a fight with Mitch? She wanted him to fight a little bit more for her? Yeah, nah, forget that. Forget that. At the end of the day, he gave you what you wanted, so you run with it from there. So then you see Mitch and Jess having a conversation, and basically Mitch and Jess has become friends through this process. They've become friends, and Mitch will go to her to speak to her about situations, and Jess will go to him to speak to him about situations. So they've kind of formed a little tight friendship there with each other. And basically he'd explained to Jess what was going on, and he was being reasonable when he said what he said. And basically Jess basically said what she thought about it, and said she thinks that Molly's playing a good game and that he could do better, basically. And I'm like, they're all playing a game to an extent. They're all playing a game, are they not? I mean, you want to be able to come out here, out of this villa, coupled off with the public vote in order to win £50,000, because that's what you're playing for at the end of the day. And people cannot forget that that is what they're playing for at the end of the day. But I also think as well that once they've gone in there for X amount of time, that they forget about the cameras that are rolling and the fact that we're watching certain bits of them and their life and how they react and interact with each other. So I forget that they think that element is there in terms of the cameras as well. So they just carry on how they would normally if they were on the outside. And some of them, not naming few names, but you know who I mean, have some really shitty behaviours. And I think to myself, it's no wonder why you're bloody single at the end of the day. So then throughout the majority of the night, we have Molly just literally crying and being comforted by the girls and being comforted by Zach, and literally not knowing where Zach is coming from, where Mitch is coming from in all of this. And I'm like, really? Really? You really don't see where Mitch is coming from in all of this? The boy gave you what you wanted, but you're still upset. So explain to the people why you're still upset, because me, clearly, I don't get it. I don't get why you're still upset. At the end of the day, as I've already said, he gave you carte blanche to go, be and talk to whoever you wanted to be. But the fact of it is, he's not pouring himself into you no more. That's what he was saying, basically. And if you didn't like that, then maybe rather than him hearing it from somebody else, you should have went to speak to him first. That would have been the kicker. That would have been the clue to be given. Go speak to him first before chatting to everybody else about what you feel about your relationship, and not telling the person that you're in that relationship with how you feel. Don't make no sense to me. So then you've got George scouting around to see who he can get, because, you know, the dreaded recoupling will be coming soon. So George wants to basically stay on the island and stay in the villa if he can do, and find somebody that he can couple up with, because he knows Jess ain't feeling it. I mean, the man goes and speaks to Wit, and I'm like, really? Have you seen Wit? Like, have you seen Wit? What makes you think that she would be interested in you? And of course she wasn't, because Wit has kind of made her interest known in Medi, because her and Medi are bouncing off each other in the way that they do. So then we go to, I think it's the next day that comes along, or it might have been into the night, and Molly wants to speak to Mitch, and I'm like, well, why do you want to speak to him for? At the end of the day, what's said has been said. Let it lie, let it carry on. Because at the end of the day, Molly had spent that whole night literally with Zach, to be fair, literally with Zach. Kathy seems to be forgotten about, or a second option in terms of Zach. And I'm just like, yeah, you're playing with Kath as well. I know Kath isn't particularly bothered about people going and chatting with others, because that's what you're there for, to feel each other out. But at the end of the day, Zach hasn't really had that conversation with Kath either, in regards to say that he's now feeling Molly, and that's where he wants to try and put his attentions. He's not had that conversation with her, so that's on his part, that is a little bit fucked up. And that's why I'm now absolutely side-eyeing Molly and freaking Zach. It's proper bombastic fucking side-eye. I'm side-eyeing them all, to be fair, because Zach and Molly are playing in people's faces, and we can see it. So then the dreaded text comes in, as we know, and it's a recoupling. So Sammy is saying that he would like, his choices would be Molly or Jess, and basically Mitch is kind of counteracting that and telling Sammy he might as well just play it safe. So to me, that's saying don't even count on Molly to be in the running with you. Mitch was basically putting Jess on side that if it did get fucked up, that he would still have a girl to pick him. So Jess would have picked him if it did fuck up, basically. Zach is still going to be counting on Kath to pick him, because Zach is within his fuckeries, because he's going to be thinking if Mitch goes first, Mitch will more than likely pick Molly. And I don't understand why Mitch would pick Molly, to be fair, because Molly no want him right now. So as we go in, I would say I thought the girls needed to like pick carefully, like really needed to pick carefully, because you know that the boys are choosing the following week, so you needed to pick carefully. So Ella, of course, picks Tyreek. My thing is why did I have to go through the whole spiel of why they're picking and coupling up with this boy when we already know who you're gonna pick? We already know who you're gonna pick. And it's like when they get down to the very last boy as well, and there's only one girl to pick. We don't need the whole, oh, I'm coupling up with this boy because yada, yada, yada. There's only one boy left. We know who the hell you're gonna pick. Anyway, I shall get back. So Ruchi picked Andre, which I was glad for, because I actually wanted to see how they would get on as a couple. And then you had Kath as well, picked Zach. We knew that was coming. We knew it was coming, but I don't think Kath is silly. Kath watches. She's a people watcher like myself. I like to people watch and see what's going on in around me in my environment before I make choices, and I know why I'm making those choices. So Kath ain't silly. She's clocking everything that's going on around her. So then you get Molly, and I was quite shocked actually that Molly picked Mitch. I was really quite shocked that Molly picked Mitch, but then actually I shouldn't be, because Kath had picked Zach before her. Otherwise, I think Molly may have picked Mitch, may have picked Zach, to be honest. But yeah, Kath closed that door off to Molly straight off the bat. Molly wasn't happy that Kath did that, but it was done. So then you get Jess, who picked Sammy, which wasn't surprising either, because actually Jess does like Sammy and wants to get to know him more. And Wit, of course, picked Mehdi. And then you have the dreaded thing. So once Wit had picked Mehdi, because then it was between Mehdi and George, and then you have George standing there like a full-on lonely nitwit, to be fair, like proper on his own, on his toddlerlink, stood there on his own, just quiet. You know, the music played on, made it into a drama, and then the text comes in and said, because George is the only one left standing, it's time for George. George is dumped off the island, which we knew was going to happen. That man was trying. He was trying way too hard to try and couple with someone, and it just did not work for him in the slightest. As I said, there's somebody out there for everybody, and I'm sure there'll be somebody out there for George. But that is the whole of episode 5 in a nutshell. And I shall be back with the next episode in quick succession. So as I always say, thank you to everybody that has continued to ride with me and watch my videos. And I would ask that you subscribe, hit that notification button for when I actually do other videos and they come up. And I'll speak to you all soon. Peace out.